You know what you need to do, the hard thing, the one that actually matters. But every time, your brain quietly chooses the easier path. You feel the resistance, the gentle pull toward comfort. Why does doing what's good for you feel so unnatural? And is it possible to change that? Problem deep dive. This pattern is painfully familiar. You set ambitious goals, feel motivated for a day or two, then the enthusiasm fades. You procrastinate on the workout, the deep work, the difficult conversation. Each time you avoid the hard thing, a small piece of self-trust erodes. Your self-talk turns harsh. Why can't I just do what I said I would do? This affects more than productivity. It shapes your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who starts but never finishes, someone who lacks discipline. The gap between who you want to be and how you actually behave grows wider. It's not just laziness. It's a deeply wired psychological pattern. But understanding why it happens is the first step toward changing it. Reframe. You are not broken or inherently undisciplined. Your brain is simply doing what it evolved to do. Conserve energy and seek immediate rewards. In our ancestral past, effort without guaranteed payoff could mean the difference between survival and exhaustion. This avoidance is an old adaptation, a protection mechanism. The good news is that your brain is highly adaptable. With the right approach, you can retrain it to associate hard things with anticipation and satisfaction instead of dread. The craving can be built. Psychological mechanism. At the center of this is your brain's dopamine system. Dopamine isn't primarily the pleasure chemical most people think it is. It is the anticipation chemical. It surges when you expect a reward, driving you to pursue it. Modern life floods you with quick, easy dopamine hits, notifications, scrolling, snacks, entertainment. This raises your baseline dopamine level and desensitizes your receptors. As a result, normal, effortful activities feel even more unrewarding by comparison. Your brain has become an energy accountant, constantly calculating. Is this effort worth the uncertain reward? When the answer is no, avoidance wins. Think of your brain as a cautious hunter. It only wants to chase if it can clearly see the prey and believes the hunt will be successful. Hard things feel like chasing shadows, too uncertain, too costly. But this wiring can be retrained. Practical framework. Here are 5 psychologically grounded principles to gradually make your brain crave doing hard things. First, reset your dopamine baseline. What to do? For 1 week, dramatically reduce high-stimulation activities, social media, YouTube, gaming, constant music, sugary foods. Replace them with low-stimulation alternatives like walking without podcasts, quiet reading, or simply sitting with your thoughts. Why it works. Lowering artificial dopamine spikes resensitizes your receptors. Effortful activities start to feel more rewarding again because your baseline drops. Real-life example. Instead of scrolling first thing in the morning, you sit with coffee in silence for 10 minutes. By day 5, your deep work session feels less painful and more engaging. Second, create ridiculously small entry points with built-in anticipation. What to do? Make a starting action so small it's almost impossible to resist, and add a moment of anticipation right before it. Why it works. The brain responds strongly to cues that signal an upcoming reward. A tiny action bypasses initial resistance while triggering mild dopamine release. Real-life example. Instead of write for 1 hour, you commit to open the document and write 1 sentence. Before opening it, you pause and visualize how good it will feel to have started. Third, link hard things to your desired identity. What to do? Before beginning a difficult task, quietly remind yourself of the type of person you are becoming through this action. Why it works. According to self-determination theory, fulfilling the need for competence and autonomy strengthens intrinsic motivation. Identity-based habits engage deeper brain regions associated with self-concept. Real-life example. Before a difficult workout, you tell yourself, this is what the disciplined version of me does. Over time, the action starts to feel aligned rather than forced. Fourth, make the effort itself part of the reward. What to do? during, or immediately after the hard task. Take 30 to 60 seconds to notice and savor any positive sensations, the feeling of focus, the pride of showing up, the clarity that comes. Why it works. By consciously pairing effort with positive internal states, you teach your brain through classical conditioning that the process itself carries value, not just the outcome. Real-life example. After a tough writing session, you close your eyes and acknowledge the calm focus you just experienced. This strengthens the neural association between effort and satisfaction. Fifth, gradually increase challenge while protecting anticipation. What to do? Slowly raise the difficulty of your hard tasks, but always keep the starting point small and maintain the anticipation ritual. Why it works? Progressive overload combined with consistent dopamine anticipation builds tolerance and turns the activity into a self-reinforcing loop through neuroplasticity. Real-life example. You start with 10 minutes of cold exposure or meditation, then slowly move to 20, always spending a moment anticipating how strong you'll feel afterward. Integration. Imagine your brain as a trail through forest. Right now, the easy, comfortable trails are wide and well-worn. The paths toward hard, meaningful things are overgrown and intimidating. Every time you choose the hard path, even for a few steps, you clear a little more of the trail. You make it easier for your future self to follow. The craving doesn't come from forcing yourself. It comes from patiently, consistently teaching your brain that the hard path leads somewhere worth going. Quiet, empowering, close. You don't need to become someone who loves every hard thing. You only need to become someone who no longer fears the beginning of them. Small, consistent actions taken with awareness can slowly shift what your brain craves. It won't happen overnight, but one day you'll notice the resistance is quieter, and the pull toward what matters feels a little stronger. Let that possibility sit with you.